Okay, we got some stuff to do. So we are going to get back to your ideas in just a moment, but before that, we have one more very incredible special speaker speaking of our civics system and the democracy that we're part of and all of the opportunities we have to influence our leaders. I'd like to introduce you to another wonderful leader. Sandy Vashur, who is the Lord Mayor of the city of Adelaide, has taken some of her precious time to come and spend with us today. Sandy is not only a first-generation Australian, is a Dutch, French, Portuguese and Ceylonese descent, Sandy, and has had an incredible career in public and private enterprise, really, really passionate about small business, creativity, and much, much more. So Sandy, would you like to join us on stage and address these wonderful young folk for us? Give her a round of applause.
So, I wasn't going to speak about civic stuff at all. Mani Napudni, Nadlu Tampandi, Nadlu Ghana Yatanga Kandi, the language of the Ghana people, I say welcome and acknowledge the Wurrung traditional country of the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains. You're all at such an exciting time of your lives. I know it doesn't maybe feel like that when you've got assignments and things, but there's so much opportunity, and I've always been one to see opportunity everywhere I go. It was interesting listening to the speakers. I was a huge science fiction fan, and both as a reader and in film. And a lot of those things I've seen happen over my lifetime. It is incredible, all the stuff that you would see in a film, like Dick Tracy speaking to a watch. Well, Apple Watch is here, and I'm still waiting for a teleporter because I would love to be able to get to work that way. I think we're all influenced not just by our friends, but also by our family. And I was very, very influenced by my father, who was an entrepreneur. He was an immigrant. He came here, he bought a plot of land and started his engineering companies. And he was a design engineer, and he actually created the loader for the Hercules aircraft, among other things. And so I grew up in this very entrepreneurial, which meant that sometimes things were great and sometimes they weren't. So, and we had to go through the stresses of that. But what I saw is incredible creativity and incredible innovation, always looking and wondering why and wondering if. And I think the best thing that you could do is be curious. I know that's a hard thing to sort of quantify, but your curiosity will lead you in many different directions. Mine led me to be Lord Mayor, which, is another story. But it was, his idea of getting experience was to throw us into it. And so I was, I think, 18 or 19 when Dad decided my sister and I needed to learn about business. So he said, what business would you be interested in? My sister said, I really like records, vinyl in those days. And I said, I'm into fashion. So we bought us both a shop. So we both had a retail outlet. And we were supposed to, with no experience whatsoever, I was still at uni, to go and run these shops. And of course, it was great fun. I learnt a lot. I lost a lot of money. I sold it 2 years later, and I took about 5 years, and I took a loan to pay off my debts. But I learned an extraordinary amount, because you often learn, as Andrea was saying, by what goes wrong than you do by what goes right. After that, he made me his partner in a restaurant, so I managed a restaurant. I was still at uni, and I had to learn all about hospitality and trade and employment and wages and everything else that goes with that. We did do that quite successful, to the point that when I did finish uni, I started my own company, and I ran that for 8 years. And during that time, I had finished uni, so I did... in those days, marketing wasn't a subject, would you believe? But I did do psychology and sociology, and those were the things that fascinated me. People's behaviour, why they do the things they do, and how you can influence them to actually want to be part of what you're doing. So I did actually take on a whole lot of what I would call change management roles for the next 20 years. And one of the things that I loved most was when I found myself working in the arts. I found myself because that's where I wanted to go. And I did a course in arts administration, and they asked around the room, why are you doing this course? And I said, well, I'm doing it because I'd like to market the Adelaide Festival. And they all laughed. And I thought, well, I am doing it because I want to market the Adelaide Festival. And about 4 years later, I became the marketing manager of the Adelaide Festival and rang a few people and had a laugh myself. But it was really when I found this tribe of people that work in arts and culture that I found people who are all about experimentation. If you don't innovate in the arts, you're done. And it was so creative, and it's all about what is the experience we want people to have. And I actually went from there, so I was the CEO of the Adelaide the Adelaide Fringe for 4 years, the Adelaide Festival. I worked with arts projects. I did Adelaide. We started the film festival. I've just had the most extraordinary people that I've worked with over those years. And I took that into local government, which sort of was a very odd place to end up. And I was a general manager, and what they wanted was me to be able to use what I'd learned in the arts to test and trial things in the city. So I did 3 years as a general manager for the City of Adelaide. And a lot of the things that we all take for granted now was what my teams did over a very short period of time. And I worked very closely with state government on it. So things like small bars licensing, things like mobile food vans, things like closing of streets so that people can, pedestrian like Lee Street. There was a whole lot of stuff that we did, a lot of the events and festivals that we have now. What I found is that when you surround yourself by people, does everybody know what the 6 hats are? The De Bono 6 hats, black hats, blue hats? No? Okay. So what I try not to do is spend time with people who are black hatters, people that find every reason why you can't do that, why that's not a good idea. When somebody has an idea, it's really easy to dump an idea. It's very hard to have them. And what's even harder is to have the passion and the persistence to see one through. So when you surround yourself by the good people, the people that will help you, they will add to your idea. They go, hey, that's great. What if you also did this? What if you thought of that? And that way, rather than give you all the reasons why you can't do something. I actually love the City of Adelaide. I cannot believe that I have this incredible role to play, because it really is about a vision for a city where everybody, doesn't matter how old you are or what your background is, but feel inspired to follow your dreams, and that's really what it's about. And I really believe that Adelaide is that city. We are known as a city of innovation and entrepreneurs and creatives. And I really believe that's in our DNA. For a time it was forgotten. It was way before any of you were born, but there was a state bank crisis and everybody forgot who they were for a little while. And it just really feels that in the last 5 years there's been a re-emergence of this passion for and energy around ideas and courage, because the two things that you'll need is imagination and courage, because without courage you're just going to let that go. And then 5 years later, you'll see someone else come up with your idea, but that actually made it happen. The other thing is to try and implement the ideas that you have. We work really hard to embrace that innovation and everything that's going on in Adelaide right now. I hope some of you have seen you're all too young. You won't see Mortal Kombat until you're a few years older, but Mr X just got nominated for an Oscar for the incredible special effects he did on Love and Monsters, and that was created right here in the Myer Centre in the middle of Adelaide. I met a whole lot of guys that worked on Mortal Kombat. The stuff that's happening in the creative industries at the moment is extraordinary. And then we've got space, and then we've got, renewables and all of the things, all the opportunities that they have. It is a really exciting time to be in Adelaide and be in Australia. So, all I would say is, you have a voice, use it, whether that is using your vote for local government. Don't be afraid to use your voice. Always be open to new ideas and seek opportunities to play them out, and be brave. And I'll finish with the words of the US Vice President Kamala Harris, who said, "Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourself in ways that others might not see you, simply because they've never seen it before." Anyway, I wish you all the best. See you.